Om Dakshinasya Samarambha Shankaracharya Madhyama Asmadacharya Paryanta Smarya Guru Parampara Shruti Smriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavat Padam Shankaran Loka Shankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Bhashya Kritau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah Ishvaro Gururatmeti Murti Bheda Vibhagine Vyomavad Vyapta Dehaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha Parijnana Shri Guru Shankara Parijnana Shankara Sadguru Keshava Vamana Krishna Panduranga Ananda Parijnana Guru Satyo Jata Shankara Satguru Gurur Brahma Gurur Vishnu Gurur Devo Maheshwaraha Guru Sakshat Parabrahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahi. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. So we have just started a new text called as Narada Bhakti Sutrani, and I gave quite a detailed introduction on the first two words, that is the last word and the middle word of this title called as Narada Bhakti Sutra. So, very briefly, to recapitulate, this text we are taking is a little different from all the other texts we have taken, which were purely Vedanta Granthas. Not that Narada Bhakti Sutra is any different. Narada Bhakti Sutra can also be considered to be a purely Vedanta Grantha itself. The only thing is the way it is composed, the way it moves is something which is a little different from the other things, a little different from the other Upanishads and Vedantic Sutras or Vedantic texts that we have taken before. And as I said, we took the meaning of the last word first, that is the sutra. And I said, sutra falls into certain definitions. And I said that in the last, this is the classical definition where a sutra, I said sutra literature in our, in our Shastra, we have the poetry, the prose, and also the sutra literature. And we have a lot of granthas, especially the granthas which are, what are called as the Smriti granthas, the Manana granthas. They are in the sutra form. And basically they are written by various acharyas trying to string the fundamental truths that are being talked about in a certain philosophy. For example, in yoga philosophy, we have Patanjali's Yoga Sutras, where whatever is there, as a part of the yoga philosophy, it is strewn together in one thread called as the Yoga Sutras. Similarly, we have the Purva Mimamsa Sutras by Jaimini Acharya, where the Purva Mimamsa, or the Karma Kanda of the Vedas, the truths that are talked about there, various, important points that are talked about there are brought together by, Jaimini Maharishi and strung into a sutra called as the Jaimini Sutras. Then all the Vedanta Shastra Upanishadic truths are dealt logically and brought together in one sutra form by about 500 sutras, what is called as the Brahma Sutra, Vyasacharya's work, 585 verses, logically interpreting the most important Vedantic statements. We have Sankhya Sutras, talking about the Sankhya philosophy. Then we have Bhakti Sutras, where Narada Bhakti Sutra and Shandilya Bhakti Sutras are the two important, very important Bhakti Sutras that are talked about. And I said that a sutra has to fall into this sixfold definition. First thing is it is Alpaksharam. Alpaksharam means that which is absolutely with minimal number of words, minimal number of what you call as the aksharas, minimum syllables, minimum number of words. It's a very cryptic sentence. A sutra is called an aphorism, or it is a very cryptic statement. At the same time, it is asandigdham, no doubts left. Nothing is left for doubts. It is alpaksharam, it is asandigdham, that which does not have any kind of a doubt. There can be no unnecessary doubts in that. It is so clear. Then it is saravat. What is the meaning of saravat? It is full of meaning. It's not gibberish. It's not something where there are 2 or 3 words which don't mean anything. No. If it is properly interpreted, it is saravat. Vishvato mukham. It can be applied universally. At every place, every time, every point in time, it is universally applicable. It's not as if it is applicable only in certain places and certain times and certain situations. No. It can be applicable in all situations. That is the next one called as the, it is Vishvato Mukham. Saravat we saw. Then we have what is called as Astobham. Astobham means what? Astobham means that which cannot be substituted. No substitute will work for it. One word cannot be, another author cannot come and say that, no, I will substitute this with another word, which will be more meaningful. No, it cannot be substituted. Then it is anavadhyam, means can't be challenged. Why it is written like this? This is not the right way. The sutra itself is wrong, like that nobody can challenge it. So this is the sutra literature. And you can imagine what kind of a scholar, what kind of a jnani the person must be. Okay, we have again the Panini Sutras in grammar, Paninian Sutras. We have the Ashtadhyayi, in which you have Paninian, the greatest grammarian, which is the meta language, we call it Panini Sutras. Panini Sutras, so many sutras are there. Like this, we have great scholars who are none other than probably avatars of Lord Shiva, Lord Vishnu, whatever, who have written these sutras. Of course, human mind is such that we readers can misinterpret the sutras unless we are properly guided. We need a guru, a Shrotriya Brahmanishta guru to decipher the sutras for us. It is like solving a cryptic puzzle in a crossword, because the sutras are so cryptic. It is very necessary for us to see that these are deciphered by a proper guru. That is why when we study Vedanta, Brahma Sutras are not taken as the immediate or first texts. We have to complete the Upanishads fully. At least the 10 basic Upanishads have to be studied, the Moolam. At least 5 Upanishads we have to study the Bhashyas of these Upanishads, Shankara Bhashya. Then only we are permitted to study the Brahma Sutras. We are chanting Brahma Sutras in our, Bhashya chanting. And those of us who are chanting, the chanters know how cryptic it is, how difficult it is. It's not that it is difficult. We have to be prepared for it. Our minds have to be prepared for it by properly going through the study, a systematic study of Vedantic literature, a systematic study of Upanishads, a systematic study of the Bhashya, Shankara Bhashyam, of at least the basic few Upanishads. then only we are prepared for Brahma Sutra. But here we are dealing with Narada Bhakti Sutras here. And Bhakti Sutra is a much easier way of putting across what is required for a bhakta. Now, in the last session, we also saw what is the meaning of bhakti. Very, very superficially, what we can say is bhakti is a connection, a sacred connection, a personal connection between the jiva and Ishvara. How the jiva relates to Ishvara, that depends upon the jiva. If the jiva uses Ishvara only for the material benefits, the jiva is using Ishvara only for material benefits, nothing other than that, material benefits alone, then that bhakta becomes an Artha Bhakta or Artharthi Bhakta. But if a jiva is including Ishvara or his relationship with Ishvara as a step in the spiritual growth, then he becomes a karma yogi, he becomes an upasana yogi, he becomes a jignasu bhakta, and ultimately all this Bheda Bhakti, that is, I am different from Ishvara, Ishvara is different from me, this Bheda Bhakti ultimately ends in Abheda Bhakti. Abheda Bhakti means what? No difference between me and Ishvara. Jnani Bhaktaha in Lord Krishna's language. Para Bhaktaha is called as Para Bhakti. Bheda Bhakti is called Apara Bhakti. I don't see the oneness between me and Ishvara. Whereas, and I use Ishvara as some kind of a higher, a more powerful entity who will help me, protect me whenever I'm in crisis or whenever I need help. When I find myself helpless, I surrender to Ishvara. Please help me. Trahimam, pahimam. Pahimam, trahimam bhakta. This bhakta is what? A Bheda Bhakta, an Apara Bhakta. And there are many bhaktas who consider Lord in the form of their Ishta Devata as one of their own people, as a family member. In many homes, we have Lord Krishna being woken up in the morning with Suprabhatam, like Venkateshwara Suprabhata or whatever, Lord is woken up. Lord does not sleep. Brahman or Ishvara does not have, avasthatrayas like us. But we consider Ishvara or God as ourselves. So God is woken up in the morning. God is given something to eat, Naivedya, breakfast. Then God is given a bath. Then God is given change of clothes. And he's put on various abharanas. Various alankaras are done. Even today we'll find, in Navaratri, we'll find various alankaras being done to the Devi. During Krishnashtami time, every day Lord Krishna is dressed up as in one particular thing. Nothing wrong. But here what is it? It is, I consider Lord Krishna or whoever my Ishta Devata is as one of us. Okay? And I have that Dasya Bhakti, Vatsalya Bhakti. Okay? Then I do bhajan, I do kirtan. Okay? Then I put Lord Krishna back into, this one, and then sing something for him to go to sleep, a lullaby is sung. This is the way we relate to Ishvara in many, many, many ways. As a personal God, as somebody to go to in the time of need and helplessness. So we do all these things for what? Because we feel that we are helpless and we need somebody else who is more powerful than me to help me. That is very intelligent. My Vedanta Guru used to say it is a very intelligent way of living. One has to bring Ishvara into one's life, everyday life. And most of our life day should be in Ishvara Anusmaranam. Whatever I am doing, I have to do certain thing, I can't stop doing it. There are things that I have to do, I will do it as an offering to Ishvara. And then whatever happens there, it happens. So, bhakti is not a separate path as such. Bhakti is there at every step in a mumukshu's life. As a mumukshu, I have Ishvara as my end result. As a sadhana chatushtaya sampanna adhikari, I have got Ishvara as my ultimate goal. As a viveki, atma anatma viveka, I have Ishvara as the ultimate goal. As vairagyam, I want only Ishvara. I don't want anything else. I'm not interested in anything else, but I want only Ishvara. I want to know what Ishvara is. Is Ishvara different from me? Is Ishvara something with a name and form? Is Ishvara somebody sitting in Kailasa or Vaikunta or in some other form? Is Ishvara really the Karmaphala Data who is making me suffer like this all the time? So what is Ishvara? Is this Upadhi called as the Jagat Ishvara? Or is this consciousness behind the Jagat Upadhi and the consciousness behind this Vyashti Upadhi, is it the same? Who am I? Who is Ishvara? What is my real relationship? What is the connection between me and Ishvara? I want to know this. I want to understand this. This is a real bhakta. That is what Narada Bhakti Sutra talks about. Nothing wrong in other forms of bhakti. Nothing wrong. We need that initially. As an Ishtadevata, Ekarupa Ishvara Bhakti, very important for us, where we treat that one deity as my own, my child or my father or my mother or my beloved or my whatever it is. And then I have to progress to Vishwarupa Ishvara Bhakti, where I start seeing everything as manifestation of Ishvara. Ishvara is not sitting somewhere and, wielding reins and running this. No. The very laws of the universe are nothing but Ishvara. Ishvara is nothing but that very consciousness, which is the adhishtanam of this entire universe. And I want to know what that consciousness is. Is it the same as me? Is that consciousness behind Ishvara, behind me, this body, and the adhishtanam of this entire universe, is it one and the same? Are they different? If it is one and the same, how is it one and the same? If it is one and the same, why am I seeing the difference between me and the world and Ishvara? All these things is something which a para bhakta goes through the stages to reach that ultimately what is called as the para bhakti, where ultimately the pakvata of bhakti or the very completeness of bhakti manifests as what? As abheda. I am not different from Ishvara. Jiva Ishvara abheda. Jivatma Paramatma abheda. That is the ultimate bhakti, like Krishna says, Jnani Bhaktaha. He is Priyaha. He is most beloved to me because Atma eva saha, Atma eva saha. That Jnani Bhakta is me, myself. I know it. He did not know it earlier. He was an Apara Bhakta. Now he is a Para Bhakta, and now he has understood that he is my Atma, or I and he are one and the same. So this is the very steps or the stages of bhakti. And as I said, Narada Bhakti Sutras and Shandilya Bhakti Sutras are the two most important well studied Bhakti Sutras, which almost go parallel, very, very parallel. The sutras have very similar words. The sutras, are almost having just different, one word different in the sutra. So Narada Bhakti Sutra. So we talked about what is a sutra. We talked about what is bhakti. Now, who is Narada? Now it is said that Narada Bhakti Sutras was a work of Devarishi Narada. Now again, what is the meaning of Narada? Naram dadati iti Narada. Naram means knowledge. Knowledge. And in our Shastra, when we say knowledge, it means Atmajnana. Jnanam dadati, naram dadati iti Narada. Now, Narada is a famous personality in Shrimad Bhagavatam. Okay? I don't think there is any chapter in Bhagavatam where there is no Narada. And it is said that in different kalpas, in different creations, Narada was in different forms. They say Narada had different lives. And in one of the lives, it is said, he was born on the earth, in the earth realm, born to one of the Prajapatis, some Marichi or Kashyapa or someone, it's not very certain. He was born to a Prajapati, but he was born to a very poor woman. The Shastras, the Puranas say that he was born to a lower class woman through a rishi. And this woman was serving the ashramas of various rishis, and Narada, right from his childhood, was involved in serving the various rishis who used to come to those ashramas. And it seems Narada gained so much of punya because of the service that he had done. And then in one of the creations, in one of the kalpas, Narada was born as the Manasaputra of Lord Brahma in one of the creations. Therefore, he was called as the Devarishi, most exalted of the rishis. If you remember Vibhuti Yoga, Devarishinam Narada Ahamasmi, says Lord Krishna, isn't it? I am Narada among the Devarshis, he says. And Narada himself, it is said that he was the brother of the Sanat Kumaras. Since Manasa Putras of Brahma, Sanat Kumaras. See, here we don't have the proper time. This one, it may be that different kalpas, different kalpas, different Brahmas were there, different Prajapatis were there. And in one of the kalpas, Narada was Manasa Putra of Prajapati Brahma. And what happened? He went to his brothers Sanat Kumara and asked for this knowledge. Narada was a very famous scholar. 64 Vidyas, it seems, he was a master of. But still, Narada had that incompleteness, apurnata in him. All the Vidyas he knew were Apara Vidyas. So he went to Sanat Kumara and told him, I know 64 Vidyas, but aham shochami. I'm still sad. I have shoka. In spite of being, a parangata in 64 Vidyas, I still am, suffering with sorrow, apurnatvam. And hey Sanat Kumara Guru, his own brother, elder brother, hey Guru, I have heard Atmavit Shokam Tarati. I have heard that an Atmavit, the knower of Atma, or an Atmajnani, Shokam Tarati. He crosses sorrow. He crosses sorrow iti, I have heard. And therefore, hey Prabhu, hey Guru, Please give me that knowledge, because I want to cross through. Though I have a free passport to go from here to there, I can travel from loka to loka. I have got all this knowledge, apara vidyas, nakshatra vidya, graha vidya, this vidya, that vidya, sangita vidya, natya vidya, everything. Because he carries a Narada veena. He carries his instrument, divine instrument. I know all this, but I still am a Purna. Please help me. I have heard from wise people that the knower of Atma crosses over all sorrow. I want to know what that Atma is. So in the chapter called as Bhuma Vidya, Sanat Kumara gives this Atma Vidya to Devarishi Narada. Another important thing, in Bhagavatam, Narada is always, poor thing. He has a bad reputation of being a Kalaha Priya. He creates Kalaha, supposed to be. that is what he said. Between people, between deities, between Saraswati and Lakshmi, between, like that we have heard Narada creating Kalaha, or kind of misunderstanding between various deities. But that is his way of giving knowledge. That's it. Creating Kalaha, making them go through a certain process of vichara, after which that particular deity gets this knowledge, whatever is the reality. So it's Narada's unique way of, giving knowledge. Naram dadati. How? By creating confusion. Sometimes I feel, unless we get confused, we don't go in for the right knowledge. Probably that's just what I'm saying. That's probably what is Narada's way of, making the devas, because there's a Devarishi, devas get the right knowledge. And of course, in those yugas, he was even supposed to travel everywhere, including the Bhuloka, and there are stories where even Bhuloka, rishis and kings being advised by Narada. But I don't know now, in Kali Yuga, I don't know what is the thing. But these are all the stories, Bhagavata stories. And this is supposed to be coming in Bhagavatam. Narada Bhakti Sutra is supposed to be a part of that which comes in Bhagavatam. And then this work has 85 sutras or aphorisms. And there are about 10 sections. In each section, we have a few verses. There's nothing that one section has only 8 or nothing like that. It's not that 85 verses divided by 10 sections. It is not like that. So each section may have a variable number of verses they may have. So now let us see what, we'll start with the first verse now. We have always heard that any creation. Now, one more thing I want to tell you. Whether Narada Bhakti Sutras are really written by Narada or not, that also we don't know. But these sutras are attributed to Narada. That's it. Whether Narada is actually the author of these sutras, we don't know. Because many times in our literature, in our Shastra, the real author of any text is not known. It's ascribed because no author felt that it is important to put his name. Subject matter was more important than the person who created that particular content. That is why we saw the last text, Vedantadindimah. We don't know whether it is, some people say it is Adi Shankaracharya Krita. Seeing the Lalityam and the type of the verses that are used. But many scholars vouch that it is Nrisimha Saraswati who has done it, who has written that. So we don't know. There are so many works in our, Manana Granthas, Smriti Granthas, which are written. We don't know who have written that. Many of the so-called works attributed to Adi Shankaracharya may not be written by Adi Shankaracharya. They may be written by some other Shankaracharya, we don't know. But anyway, they are very good texts, we can say, or very good the content it is for our spiritual growth. And here Narada is talking about bhakti in its various aspects. But the center of the theme of Narada Bhakti Sutras, whether it is written by Narada or not, attributed to Narada, whether it is the central theme is the theme of Vedanta. The central theme is Parabhakti. It starts itself with Parabhakti. Parabhakti only it starts with. Yes, of course, in between there may be references to Bheda Bhakti, Apara Bhakti also. But the very content, the very whatever is the the central teaching of Narada Bhakti Sutra is nothing but Parabhakti. So with this, I think I have taken a long time, 1.5 hours almost, for introducing the text, but it's necessary. Our Vedanta gurus always spent 2 to 3 hours on introduction, because introduction is the most important part of getting into a text. The base becomes very strong. And so now let us go to the first section of Narada Bhakti Sutra. So the first sutra says, Athato bhaktim vyakhyāsyāmah. So now you must be surprised. Any text authored by anybody always starts with Mangalacharana Shloka, isn't it? Even Bhagavan Shankaracharya, when he starts any grantha, may it be Bhashyam or may it be a Shloka, whatever it may be, or may it be any other Prakarana, always starts with Mangalacharana Shloka. Correct? Mangalacharana Shloka means an invocatory Shloka, invoking the grace of Ishvara, the grace of Ishtadevata in the form of Ishvara, and the grace of Guru and Shastra. And we have always seen any text we have taken. When we took Vedantadindimah last, what did we see? Vedantadindimah's tattvam ekam udghoshayanti yat astam purastat tejaha Dakshinamurthy sannitam. That was the Mangalacharana Shloka in Vedantadindimah, right? And if you go back all these 5 years, whatever texts we have studied, whether it's Vivekachudamani, whether it is, what you call Aprokshanubhuti, or whatever it is, whatever text we have studied, we have always studied it with a Mangalacharanam, isn't it? That a text which is created by any of the Acharyas. But here in Narada Bhakti Sutra, where is the Mangalacharanam? There is no Mangalacharanam here. Then here it is said that Athato bhaktim vyakhyāsyāmah. Athaha, athaha. Atha, ataha. Athato means atha and ataha. Atha, ataha. It is said that atha is a Mangala Suchaka Shabda, a symbol. Om and Atha. Om and Atha are supposed to be the Mangala Suchakani. Okay? So these two, that's why it is said, when Lord Brahma created this universe, he started the universe with Om Atha. Om Atha iti. Om and Atha are supposed to be nothing but Mangala Suchakas. And therefore, it is said that in Sutra literature, sometimes the first sutra starts with Athato. Atha, Ataha. Athato means Atha, Ataha. This Atha, the first word, is itself in the form of a Mangala Suchaka Shabda. So in Brahma Sutra, Vyasacharya starts the first sutra as Athato Brahma Jignasa. He starts with that. Atha, Ataha, Brahma Jignasa. Jaimini Sutra start with Athato Dharma Jignasa. Okay? So, here, the Atha word itself, this word which we are seeing as the Atha itself is that word which indicates what? Mangalacharanam. Therefore, there is no other Mangalacharanam here. Sometimes a work may start directly with Om or Atha. So Atha itself is Mangalacharanam. Now, this sutra has got 4 words. Atha, Ataha, Bhaktim, Vyakhyasyaamaha. Okay? Vyakhyasyaamaha means what? We shall do a Vyakhyanam, or we shall give a detailed explanation. Vyakhyanam, Vyakhyasyaamaha. We will, it is in plural. Vyakhyasyaamaha. We will give a detailed explanation about bhakti. Okay. Now, Narada is supposed to be writing this Bhakti Sutra. Why is he saying, we will expound, we will explain, we will detail bhakti? Why is Narada saying that? It is said that any, scholar, when he is trying to write a treatise on Shastra, he writes it as a representative of the entire Guru Parampara or entire Parampara. So when Narada writes this, Vyakhyasyaamaha, we are going to, Narada is talking, taking his entire lineage and Guru Parampara and taking the lineage of from Lord Vishnu, from Parameshwara onwards, he is a representative of the entire lineage of the Parampara, and therefore he uses the plural. We have heard our Swamiji saying, when Swamiji talks on as Guru Parampara, when he talks, he always says we, isn't it? Because here the Guru Shakti is not talking as an individual. The Guru Shakti is talking on behalf of the entire Guru Parampara. So the plural comes. So the Guru says we, all the Gurus, all of us, the entire lineage is conveying this. So similarly here, Vyakhyasyaamaha means what? Vyakhyasyaamaha means we are going to expound. We are going to explain whatever needs to be known about bhakti, especially bhakti which is ultimately the Parabhakti, the Abheda between Jiva and Ishvara. Okay, so now next comes Bhaktim Vyakhyasyaamaha. Bhaktim Vyakhyasyaamaha. We are going to expound or explain bhakti. So what is this bhakti? I think I have given a full explanation of what this bhakti is in the last session and this session also. What are the different flavors of bhakti? So here, bhakti means, what is this connection between a jiva and Ishvara? That connection, what is it that connects me and Ishvara, the jiva and Ishvara? That connection between me and Ishvara, that is what I am going to explain in detail. So, we are always, we always say, oh, God is there. God will take care of everything. He will take care. We always look up or we show our hands up and we say, He is there. He will do whatever is needed. So, what we see is that, we ourselves don't know. What is the connection between me and Ishvara? Is it like a helpful neighbor who I can just call and that come will help and go away? Or is it like, what is it? What is that connection between me and Ishvara? What is it that binds me to Ishvara? Ishvara or God. Now you call Ishvara anything. Ishvara is a common name. Ishvara now we are not using in a proper noun as Shiva or something like that. No. Here Ishvara means Lord, God, or whatever you call a general, name, a common noun for God. You can call it anything. So what is that connection between a Jiva and Ishvara, which is called as Bhakti? What are its different hues? What is it that actually is the connection? How the connection goes? That is going to be explained by us. And Atha, Ataha. Atha means what? Atha means Idanim. Idanim. Now onwards. There are different meanings for Atha. Okay? What are the two meanings we'll take? Only two meanings we'll take for Atha. One meaning is Anantaryam. After, thereafter. One meaning, Atha. Okay, that is called as Anantaryam. After that, what is that? It is no Anantaryarthe. Then the second meaning, Atha, means Arambharte or Prarambharte, Atha Idanim. From now, Idanim Atha. That's why when we start a Adhyaya chanting, what do we say? Atha Chaturdashodhyayaha. Now I will chant Chaturdasha Adhyayaha Idanim. Correct? When we chant Bhasha also, what do we say? Atha Chaturdashodhyaya, we say. Even in other things, Atha so and so Adhyaya. That means Idanim. Now onwards, from now, a detailed discussion of bhakti will start. It is not Anantaryam. That means, that is Anantaram. No, it is not thereafter. So one meaning is thereafter. For example, when Athato Brahma Jignasa comes in Brahma Sutras, Atha there means thereafter. Thereafter, what after? After sadhana chatushtaya sampatti. That means Anantaryam, after something. There the meaning is not Idanim. I don't have to tell all these things because probably these are a little too difficult things. But remember one thing, that Atha is a Mangala Suchaka Shabda. So when there is no Mangalacharana Shloka, Atha itself is considered as a Mangala Suchaka. Atha also serves a second purpose. What is the second purpose? Idanim. Probably Narada was talking about something else, and now, from now, he wants to explain as a part of his entire Guru Parampara or Parampara. He wants to explain. What does he want to explain? All the intricacies of bhakti, especially Parabhakti. So Atha means now onwards, from now. Okay, from now. Idanim. Then Ataha. Athato contains two words. Atha, Ataha. Athaha means what? Therefore. Therefore. From now, therefore. Therefore means wherefore. From wherever you are having a doubt, you do not know what this Ishvara is. Those of you who are interested, those of you are having the jignasa to know, I have a jignasa to know what is that Ishvara. What is it that I'm, how am I connected to that Ishvara? What is my role? What is Ishvara's role in this whole universe? I want to know about it. And therefore, because I have questions about it, I have jignasa about it, I want to know about Ishvara. I want to know about the connection between me and Ishvara. Therefore, I will talk to you about that connection which is called as bhakti. So you saw the aphorism means what? Just 4 words here. Athato bhaktim vyakyasyamaha. Athato bhaktim vyakyasyamaha. That's it. So now onwards, because you want to know, therefore, we are going to give a detailed explanation of what bhakti is. So this is the first verse, and he promises what? That Vyakhya-samaha. I am going to really go elaborately, very, very elaborately into that. Okay. So here, that is the pursuit. Okay. That is a commentary I am going to give on bhakti. Loosely speaking, bhakti is called as devotion. Bhakti can be also called as a surrender. Okay. Bhakti is also called as love for God. Love for God. Devotion for God. Devotion is a different kind, a love at a very different level. Devotion. Devoted. Very devoted. No questions asked. Devoted. It's not just a love where as long as you keep me happy, I love you. Oh God, you have given me what I want, I love you. But when things don't happen the way I want, then I no longer love. I don't have any faith. I don't have will. No, not that. So it is a devotion. It is a love which is unquestioned devotion. Surrender is another thing. Bhakti is another thing. Another is surrender. Totally surrender. That it doesn't matter what happens to me. You are there. Okay, you are there. You will take care of me. That surrender. You will, I know that. And you are the total. I am the individual. Vyashti, samashti. And as total, you are going to take care of me. I have completely surrendered to you. That is also bhakti, ultimate surrender, either to my Ekarupa Ishvara, my Ishtadevata, or to Vishwarupa Ishvara, whatever it is. A jnani is a total surrenderer. He has surrendered to his Atma Tattvam. He is no longer there. There is no I. It's totally the other one. In surrender also, in bhakti also, ultimately in that, the bhakta is no longer there. Only Ishvara, and only that surrender is there. So here he gives an explanation of this, what we call as the divine love. Some teachers, some acharyas say bhakti means divine love. Divine love. Okay. I don't know, because love, I don't know how we can, of course, there are different gradations of love. So divine love is one of the ways in which it is explained. Surrender is one of the ways. But bhakti really cannot be translated into English. I feel, and all the acharyas feel, that certain words in Sanskrit cannot be translated into English. They can be a very poor representation of the real meaning. For example, punya papa. We cannot really, merits, they say, punya. Is it really the translation? Papa, sins. It's not. It's a very loose way of translating certain words, into another language, and certain words are not translatable. And one of the words which really goes beyond any translation is bhakti. Even jnanam, you can say like that. Ishvara, Brahman, all these words, they have their own connotation, which are understood best, absorbed best in that particular language only, in that particular language, in that particular term only. So whatever may be the name given, we will stick on in this entire Narada Bhakti Sutras to the name Bhakti. And Bhakti is nothing but a connection, a relationship between the Jiva, who's called as Bhakta, or the Upasaka, and Ishvara, or the Upasya. Okay, so what kind of a level, doesn't matter, bhakti is that. So that is going to be explained. This was an introductory verse. Now let us go to the second sutra. Satvasmin parama prema rupa. So here the second one again. Sa tu asmin parama prema rupa. 4 words. Sa tu asmin parama prema rupa. Now what is the meaning of this? Sa tu asmin parama prema rupa. What is sa? That bhakti. Because in the first verse itself, he talked about bhaktim vyakhyāsyāmaha. Now, he will use the pronoun. Again, he doesn't have to use the bhakti. For example, we say, Rama came out of his house. He walked to the school. Correct? We don't say Rama came out of the house. Rama took his bag. Rama walked to his school. We don't say that, isn't it? Rama came out of his house. He took his bag and he walked. You may not even say he there. One sentence. And he walked to the school. So, once we have used the proper noun, okay, once we have used a particular indicative one noun, after that we start using pronouns. So, sa means what? That. Sa means she, actually. What is she here? Is bhakti a he or she? Bhakti is in Strilinga and Sanskrit, correct? And whatever is the noun, the pronoun goes also by that particular, gender only. Saha Ishvaraha, Saha Ramaha, Sa Sita. Correct? So the pronoun also gets the same gender as the main noun. So in the first verse, since bhaktim vyakhyāsyāmaha, bhakti will be expounded by us from now onwards. Because you are interested, because it will help a bhakta to know more about his connection with Ishvara. Sa bhaktihi, that bhakti, she, sa, that bhakti. Tu, that means it is definitely, what is it? What is that bhakti he's talking about? Bhaktim vyakhyāsyāmaha, then what is that bhakti? What is the meaning of that bhakti? So he says, Satu asmin. Now what is asmin? In. Asmin means in that. Okay, in this asmin. Tasmin, in that. Parama prema rupa. Of the nature of deep devotion. Now, the difficulty is, asmin means what? In which? Where is this parama prema rupa bhakti? In what? Satu asmin parama prema rupa. Asmin means what? Asmin Ishvare. You understand? So, in the first sutra, Ishvarana was not brought about. Correct? Athato bhaktim vyakhyāsyāmaha. What I will talk about bhakti. Now, we know, we discussed bhakti is nothing but a connection between Jiva and Ishvara, right? But now, what is that bhakti? Asmin parama prema rupa. Asmin. Asmin means where? Ishvare. Asmin. Parama prema rupa. Do you remember Krishna in Bhagavad Gita? Avyabhicharini bhakti. Avyabhicharini bhakti means what? Strong, steady, not wavering, trust, devotion in Ishvara. Correct? Huh? It could be either in Ekarupa Ishvara Bhakti in the form of my own Ishta Devata, whatever it may be, or as Vishwarupa, whatever is happening in the whole universe is Ishvara Sankalpa. Whatever is happening in this individual Jiva, Ishvara Sankalpa. I accept without any kind of criticism, without any kind of judgment, without any kind of this should have happened, this should not have happened. I accept at the Samashti level also, at the Vyashti level also. I accept whatever is as Ishvara Sankalpa. Because there is something which is all-knowing. There is something which is nothing but the all-knowing laws of this entire cosmos, including me, the individual. Now, then, this thing called as Ishvara, where I, the Jiva, have avyabhicharini bhakti, parama prema rupa. That love, that devotion, that surrender, that connection which doesn't shake. I am connected to Ishvara. That connection is unshakable by anything. Unshakable by circumstances, unshakable by anything. That, yes, I am Ishvara's, Ishvara is me, Ishvara is mine. Initially, I don't have the Parabhakti, but I belong to Ishvara. Ishvara belongs to me. Ishvara will take care of me. That's it. The Bheda is still there. There is no Abheda yet. But that there is something which will, not throw me away. That is the thing which is called as Parama Prema Rupa. Asmin Ishvare. In this Ishvara, it is Parama Prema. Avyabhicharini Bhakti in Lord Krishna's language in Bhagavad Gita. Sometimes it is also explained as Paraprema Rupa. Okay? It also can be, it is taught also by Acharyas as Parama Prema Rupa can also mean Paraprema Rupa. That means it is Abheda Bhakti, Parabhakti, Jnani Bhakti. Of course, I have to go through Apara Bhakti initially, Bheda Bhakti initially, but ultimately it is what? It is Paraprema Rupa. Para. Absolutely nothing other than that. There is only one thing, that is Brahman. I am not different from that. That is Para Prema Rupa. Total Avyabhicharini Bhakti with understanding. Not just surrender, but with understanding that there is no difference. Para Bhakti. Para Prema Swarupa. Asmin Brahmani Ishvare Para Bhakti Swarupa. This is the way it is. It can be interpreted. We'll go more into details later. Nandantu sadhaka sarve vinashyantu vidushakaha avastha shambhavi mestu prasannostu gurus sada sarve bhavantu sukhinah sarve santu niramayaha sarve bhadrani pashyantu ma kaschid dukkham apnuyat. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Tat Sat.